What's going on, everybody? So, it's been a minute since I did a Bushcraft Basics, and what happened to me last night at work really put me in the frame of mind for this video. So, I'm here to talk about something you may not have in your medical kit or your boo-boo kit. This is my little boo-boo kit that I take with me at work in my bag, just in case something small, minor happens and I can take care of it. I don't like going to our medical department because not only is it ridiculous the amount of paperwork you got to do, but I don't want to get into that. But I just want to give you some of my experiences and what I have used, not only at work, but out in the woods, on the trail, and stuff like that. But before I get into that, I gotta give a disclaimer here. I am not a medical professional. I have very little training. In fact, you could say I have medical first aid training only. Most of that I received in the military when I was a soldier. So, this is not medical advice. You should only take medical advice from a trained professional. In fact, you should do your own research and talk to a trained medical professional. Anything I say here is for information purposes only and should be taken at face value. I am not responsible for what you do in your life, and you're not responsible for what I do in my life. We're only responsible for ourselves. Okay, with that out of the way, let me get into it. So here's what happened at work last night. I got a small cut on my middle finger on my right hand. And like most small cuts, it was very irritating. So I did the smart thing. I went, washed it out. Out of my little kit here, one of the things I carry is tincture of iodine. I used that on the cut once I got it, washed out. There was no blood or anything. It was pretty bloodless, but it was irritating. And then I went into my kit here thinking I had this item I'm about to tell you out. But then I remembered I used my last one and I didn't have it. So what is this mystery item? Super glue. These single-use packets of super glue. Because these work really good at closing small wounds. Let me give you a little history on super glue and why I kind of use it for this, and other people do too. Super glue was first invented by Dr. Harry Coover of the Kodak Laboratories in 1942. Yes, that Kodak. Who remembers a Kodak instant camera? I do. I still own one. He was looking to make extra clear plastic for gun sights, probably for World War II for the war effort. But instead, he accidentally invented the world's first super glue. He called this new adhesive Eastman 910. In '64, Eastman Kodak did an application to the FDA to use this adhesive to seal and hold human tissue together for surgery. By 1966, in the Vietnam War, the glue was used by specially trained surgical teams with impressive results. And then throughout the Vietnam War, many medics used it as a liquid stitch in the field to close small wounds, because in a jungle environment, cuts can get infected very easily. Now, I learned about this when I was in the Army, believe it or not, from a medic on closing small wounds. And ever since then, I have used it on my own. However, using something like this to close a small wound, you got to apply a decent dose of common sense. If the wound is bleeding badly, this isn't going to work. You have to stop the bleeding first. The wound has to be cleaned out and disinfected before you seal it up. Because if you seal it up without cleaning it out, you're just sealing contamination in there for the wound to grow, infected, and then you could end up with sepsis. This is no, joke. You got to take care of yourself and do it properly. Now, I'll show you my finger here. I'm not giving you the finger. You see this shiny area right here? That's where the cut is. And there's a layer of super glue holding this shut. Now, I didn't have my super glue. I had to go talk to a guy I know at work, and he had some, and I was able to seal it up, so all is good. I'm going to add these back to my little boo-boo kit, so I have them. So I thought I would share with you how I carry these ready to go. Now, the single-use type, the spout actually pierces the foil when you screw it down all the way. So typically what I do is I screw these on very gently till it meets resistance right there. Then I take some tape. I cut a piece of tape. And I put this tape on here to prevent this from screwing down or screwing off by accident, like so. I go ahead and fold over the end. This just gives me a tab here to grab onto. Now that banging around in here is not going to come off or tighten, but I can grab this even with one hand, the tab with my teeth, take it off, and then with my teeth I can even tighten this down. And there's no way to plug this up once these are open and then go ahead and use it. This is a one shot, one use, and it's disposable. So there they are in my kit. Now, the benefits of the super glue: it dries fast. It stays in place over time. It keeps dirt and contaminants out of the cut. And by the time this wears off my finger, I'm going to be healed, because it's going to take a week or more for that to fully wear off. Also, the quicker you get a wound closed, and it reduces scarring. When you get stitches, depending on the skill of the person giving the stitches, you may or may not have scarring. Now, one bit of warning, some people, super glue, if they get it on their skin, can cause irritation. So, are you one of those people? Do you know? Maybe you should talk to your medical professional, your caregiver, and find out. They do have tests to check you. Now, when not to use this? Deep wounds. Why? Because you can't effectively probably clean that wound out. Jagged wounds, if it's very jagged, once again, you're probably not going to be able to clean that out on your own effectively. Puncture wounds, once again, puncture wounds usually go in deep into the tissues. Animal bites. Animal bites are the worst. They're very hard to disinfect and almost always become infected. Burns, once again, you're probably not going to be able to keep it clean, so sealing up any contamination on a burn is a bad idea. Also, mobile areas. See, my cut is right along here. If it had been here closer to the joint, I probably couldn't have used super glue to keep this shut, to seal it up. All right, things to avoid. Antibiotic ointments typically will, if not dissolve some super glues, will actually work their way under the super glue and remove the adhesion, taking it off the skin. Okay? And don't pick at the super glue. Let nature take its course and it fall off. All right? Now, before anybody jumps on me out there, do a little research. There's actually, I think it was 6 or 8 different kinds of adhesives that are based off the original super glue recipe that are used in emergency rooms here in the USA today. So this is not an uncommon thing. All right? And that's all I got to say about that. Use it, don't use it. You are responsible for you as I am responsible for me. I just thought I would share this because I thought about it. I'm like, I wonder if anybody out there does this. Please comment below. Let me know if you've done this before and your experiences with it. Me, I've been doing this for small cuts for, God, since I was in my 20s, and I'm in my 50s now, so do the math. I've never had a cut become infected because I clean them out and I disinfect them. All right? So that's all I got to say on that. Everybody have a great day, and I'll see you all later on out in those woods over there.